based on what I had found in my own Google searching, it seemed that with her stage and her age, that there was only a 20% chance that my daughter would live for 5 years. And I had actually told her doctor that I didn't think we would do treatment. She had recently seen the movie Up and had been going on about how, adventure is out there. And I didn't want her to think that life was just being in a hospital, in pain and unhappy. I wanted her to have an adventure. And her doctor told me that this new trial, they really truly believed that the percentage of children who lived more than 5 years would be more than 50%, but that was all she could really tell me, 50-50. And I said to her, you know what? I'll make a deal. We'll do treatment, but if you ever think we're not on the right side of 50-50, you're gonna let me know so that I can take her for an adventure. And she lived 7.5 years with cancer, and that last year, we had changed hospitals, we changed doctors, we changed treatment plans, and her oncologist said to me, this is kind of the last thing that we have left. And if it does not work, then I don't think there's much else we can do. And I asked her, what kind of time do you think I have? And she was like, I think I can get you like a year. And I was like, well, I will take a year. And I actually, she had asked her, I'm like, when you get out of here, what do you want to do? She goes, I want to go to Disney. And I said, right, okie doke. It was a big wish. We had lost our house. I had to give up my retirement. It seemed impossible. And then Tommy called me. And he was like, it's funny that she wants to go do this because we're putting together this Wish Grant program. Would Angelina like to be the first person to take advantage of our Wish Grant program? And I said to him, I was like, well, if you're asking me if you can test a program on my child and send her to Disney, yes. And we didn't even, if you can actually watch the video, we didn't even tell her. She thought we were going to Texas to visit my sister and that we were connecting through Orlando. And then I told her that our flight had been canceled, so we had to get off the plane. And when we got out there, she was very confused. I think she was probably the only wish child to not be excited at the airport because she was like, oh, that's wondering. And then when she realized my son, who's a year older than her, made a comment. He was like, you lied. And Angelina turned to him and she said, no, there's lies and then there's this, and this is the good kind of lie. And we had an incredible week, and it was the kind of week where you really believed in hope. And we left for our wish trip on February 25th of 2019, the first family to go visit the Wish Village through Childhood Cancer Society. And in January of 2020, Angelina didn't know that she was put on hospice. And I was told we were going to speak to the palliative care doctor at Hackensack. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm going to have to explain to this doctor that my original doctor and I had an agreement that Angelina was going to get to go do something incredible. So this person's just going to have to understand that. And who walks in? The palliative care doctor, her original oncologist. And she looked at me and goes, so what amazing adventure is our girl going to go have? And they were arranging to send all this crap to my house, beds and all this other stuff. And I said to her, I'm like, I don't need any of this stuff because adventure is out there, and I assure you I will be back in time. And she was like, what do you mean? I'm like, don't worry about what I mean, just get this shit in my house. And I carried her off the plane from Disney on February 13th, 2020. And she passed the following Friday. And there were a couple things that we talked about at the very end. And she told me that she would have a baby sister. And I was like, that's nice. Is your dad having a baby and he didn't tell me? And she was like, no, Mama, you and Tom are gonna have a baby. And I said to her, that's nice. You know Tom's old as dirt, right? And she's like, I'm gonna name her Hope. And I'm like, not how any of this works, but okay. And then she told me that we had a great adventure. Ironically, her funeral was actually 1 year to the day from our wish trip. And her oncologist told me that I should take comfort in knowing that her case changed the criteria for a lot of the treatments that she had gone through. And that there would be thousands of children who would live. Please don't judge me very harshly, but that wasn't very comforting. Because there's no one in front of you telling you that their child lived because your daughter lived. So, what I want you to remember tonight is that later on, when we are together and we reveal our surprise, that we made this happen. We are giving hope. We are giving people a time when they realize that anything is possible, and that in a world that is so dark right now, adventure is still out there. And the last day that we were in Disney, we were at the Animal Kingdom, and one of the wilderness scouts from the movie Up came up to Angelina, and he gave her something, and I actually would like Tommy to come here. Up, come up. Don't make me come get you. I have to bestow upon you the Ellie badge, Angelina's. For all that you do, for all of the Wish families, and on behalf of all of them, if I can be so bold as to speak for them, for giving adventure, for giving hope, and for being a light in such a dark world. One thing people always ask me is, knowing how it all turned out, knowing how it all went, would I do it all again? And I always say back to them, wouldn't you? So thank you all for all that you do.